Leadership family, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Restoring the Breach podcast. I'm Greg.
I'm Cachet,
where we specialize in unlocking the leader inside of you. We are on episode number 2 of our gender roles series.
Yes.
And we got such awesome feedback from everybody.
Yes, we did.
Over this past week. And we're excited to keep the ball rolling on this. And today we're going to continue to push this conversation piece. Wifey kind of came up with this topic, I believe. Did you come up with this title?
No, actually, it came from a page of a women's group that I'm a part of. And basically, there was a question presented back in the summer, and it had me my mind spinning. It had me thinking. And the topic of today is, can women have it all? Basically, to summarize what it was, there was a lady who talked about how when she got married, she gave up her dreams and her and the things, her aspirations, to become, just a wife and a mother. And later on, she resented her husband for never kind of reaching her goals and dreams. And it made me think about how at times women, we can give up things,
sacrifice,
that we think that we have to, like we don't. So the question being presented, can women have it all? It had me thinking, because honestly, I am probably an anomaly in, I guess, our community as far as what is versus what used to be. Now there are a lot of women who are career driven and different stuff like that, which is great. But I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm like the most. We have 5 kids. I stay home with them, and right now they are in cyber school, so they're being homeschooled. But I've come across a lot of women who felt like when they get married, for those who weren't married, or when they got married, they'd have to give up their dreams and stuff to become, what they expect a wife should be.
And that's where our question for today is. Can a woman have a career, pursue purpose, have dreams and aspirations, while at the same time still being a woman of who's married, has children, responsibilities at home? Is it possible?
Yeah.
If you were tuning in last week, we kicked it off with a controversial topic. Who makes the plate?
Yeah.
And that was done intentionally, and we appreciate the feedback that we got. It wasn't done to deceive anybody in terms of what our conversation piece was, but it was done to what we do is we dispel stigmas.
Yes.
And the stigma that we wanted to address last week is that we personally don't believe that who makes the plate is assigned to women.
Yeah.
We believe that it's important for couples to work out what fits their household.
Yes.
And for that to be done based on what fits you guys. Not because what society says, not because of what ministry says. And don't get it wrong. In no way are we saying that God didn't design male and female for specific roles in the household. He did. He very well did. But what we often do is we take the principle that God said in terms of the man being the leader and the foundation of the home, and the wife being the helper. And being able to incubate and birth things that are presented to her. We take those things and we assign specific practices and say, well, this is supposed to be for the woman because she's the helper. When we really contort what God meant by helper.
I think it's a mixed. I think it's mixed with not just God's word, but just traditional, old school ways. True, like back in the day, we're in maybe our grandparents more so, great grandparents like that. It was the woman stayed home with the kids. Husband went to work, brought home the bacon.
And we saw when the war kicked off, World War I, when men were shipped off to war, women were called to step up. and they were called to go to the factory.
Well, hold on, we ain't see that.
Yeah.
This is part of research that you did.
Mm-hmm.
So Greg started to do research, and in the research, he was like, well, where did this begin? Was this the feminist movement where women sort of saying, hey, I want to work too, I want to have a career too, or what was it? Mm-hmm. And when he looked in his research, now, what did you find?
Well, let's lay the foundation that the way that things are done in a lot of societies is cultural.
Yes.
So you can go to the Eastern culture and you can see that the men may stay at home and women go to work.
Yeah, which was new for me to hear. That was new for me.
But here in American culture, if you go back to early 20th century and before, up until the mid 20th century, it was always the man's the breadwinner.
Yeah.
The woman is the homemaker.
Yes.
And when the World War hit off and men were shipped off to war, you got the draft. Women went to the factories and began to be a part of the manufacturing workforce.
Yeah.
And what it did is it actually took women out of the home, and it also took away the jobs that the men were working. Yeah. So when men came back, they didn't have a job and there was no woman at home.
Yeah.
And so it created this cultural shift in, women not only got a taste of being able to work and bring in revenue and find some form of, a different form of purpose if that's something that they wanted to pursue, but men felt displaced.
Yeah.
And what we did in our culture is we attached our purpose as a man to providing financially, to providing a certain level of security. In many ways that began to be replaced culturally because women were doing the things that men were doing. And so it caused a rift in the home.
Yeah. So now let's fast forward to today, in this day and age where there are a lot of successful women. I personally know a lot of successful women. And, and also let's think about the fact that a lot of fathers were no longer in the homes too. So then there was not only a desire to be, to have a career and these different things, but then she has to.
And that's another conversation in itself, because there are a lot of things in culture and society, from the crack epidemic to so many different things that destroyed the family structure.
Yes.
But we see that these things that happen in society often fracture the purpose or blind us to the purpose that God created.
Yes.
Like we talked a little bit last week as a man, and we had this conversation. I really struggled with the idea that a man could be a stay-at-home dad.
Can't even say it still.
Well, because in many ways, I pride myself in providing. I know that is a purpose that God created man for.
Yes.
But the idea that I am not bringing money in. Well, that was the piece that I attached to provider. Yeah. And there may be some situations where, based on a family circumstances, the wife, maybe she's a celebrity, maybe she's this high-profile attorney, whatever. She has a career field when they got together, or when they before they got together, where she is bringing in more than enough revenue to sustain their home. Yeah. But now we're talking about women, can they have it all? They also have children to care for. Who's going to care for these babies? Yeah. Are you going to put them in the hands of nannies and childcare? Sure. Nothing wrong with that, but you do that, or you're going to do that for the sake of, as a man, I need to go do something. Yeah. Or is the best fit for your home for that season that you care for your children? And I learned in our conversation that as a man, I could still be a provider. I can still be a visionary for my home without attaching it to me bringing the top dollar into our home. Yeah. If we have and this is where we see in society, we got some pretty bad advice coming into relationship from some folks about, make sure you separate that money. Make sure you put that stuff to the side.
You're stepping on.
Am I going somewhere else? Oh, stepping on. Well, that's what we do.
Well, and again, and this is something that we got to comment on, but this is what we do. We talk about how everybody's relationship isn't going to be the same. So you really have to find what works for you in your home.
Yeah.
And so there are some societal things, like for instance, I grew up with a lot of strong, independent women. And so they, they wanted a man there, but knowing how to where to place him and what you did, wasn't really given to me. You know what I mean? So when we got married, I was just so guarded and rough and, because I just wasn't used to what a man really should do for me besides provide. And let's talk about how, when you were saying it, something came to mind. You attached provision to just money, which is normal. But let's think about your childhood.
Yeah.
Your father provided. That's what he did. So this is what you know that a man does, right? And your mom worked, but she was mostly home. And so that is also a foundational thing that was in your home that became...
That was my culture.
Yes.
So culture is not always, it's not associated with race.
Yeah.
If you're in an environment where the men do X, Y, and Z and women do X, Y, and Z, we created a culture. We create a culture in our home for our children.
Yes.
You guys that are listening, you have a culture in your household, whether you recognize it or not. You're creating a certain environment. Some stuff you experienced, you brought it from you experienced in your childhood. You brought into the lifestyle that you had.
Yeah.
If you slow down enough to pay attention to what you say to your kids when they drive you crazy.
Yeah.
And you're like,
man,
I'm saying what my mom and my dad
Well,
said.
I hear our kids say stuff that I say all the time, and before I even jump on and try to just correct, I'm like, you just said that. So if you don't want this being said, you need to think about what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now let's draw it back though. Let's say that a couple is dating, courting, whatever you want to call it, and she wants a career. But and I see this often with when you're in religion and stuff. I've seen, but he feels like she should stay home, or maybe you're taught that, or maybe even she feels like, well, if we get married, then I have to I can't do this career stuff. Now the thing that's crazy is the friends that I have are not like that. But it's a thing though. Yeah. It's a thing where you see, even our parents' generation, you see that they may have not felt like they can reach the aspirations and goals that they may have had, the women in particular, who were married, because they felt like their only job, I had kids, and my husband, was to just be the helper, just support the husband. And you said something earlier that I think is the key to how a woman can have a career, and if this is what she believes she's supposed to be doing. You said the man has to care. This is where
it starts. It starts with breaking the cycle of not caring that a woman has purpose by God. Societally, the emphasis is always put on what a man can do. We'll give credit that there would be no multiplication in the earth without women incubating seed. But in terms of the idea that a woman could do something purposeful in this world and make significant impact, that might even overshadow what that does not allow the man to be the face of that, can be challenging to ideology. So it's very important that as a man, and we're going to bring it into a relationship, that you recognize that, man, God gave my wife a specific purpose just like he gave me. And so if my wife has a career or wants to pursue a certain passion, and I have a certain passion, if we come into this thing understanding, this is where the discrepancy comes. We don't have this understanding. But we understand that we are two people with certain desires and passions, and we want to be able to pursue this thing but still have a family. It's important that we come together and we figure out, how does this fit us? We've seen examples where there were certain seasons where one spouse would sacrifice a period of time so the other spouse could pursue a career, but they were in agreement with that. And then when that time frame was up and they reached that plateau, the spouse who got that certain level of success stepped back and said, okay, I'm going to support you in your endeavors. But that is two people understanding that we have purpose, and it's not you stepping back and allowing me to shine because this is my position.
Yeah.
This is us saying, hey, I understand that you have purpose. As a man, we're called to cultivate, man.
Yeah.
We are called to look at our wives and not as a possession.
Yeah.
But as a gift from God.
Mm-hmm.
As somebody who can take vision that we have for our home.
Yeah.
And transform it, man. I gotta share it. Good friend of mine really broke down the Hebrew terms that God had for father, mother, son, and daughter. Mm-hmm. And if you may be familiar with the term Abba. Mm-hmm. So Abba means father in Hebrew, but if you look at the way it's broken down, it really means kind of a pillar, or foundation. The Hebrew term for a woman, which I believe is Amma, I could be pronouncing it incorrectly, but the term, it means arm, mm-hmm. or glue. She's the strength, mm-hmm. or arm. Son and daughter, which would be Ak and Akora, mean walls. Mm-hmm. All those words start with the Hebrew term strength or oxen. Mm-hmm. So each one of those positions in the family are strong. Yeah. A woman's role is not strong. Even the Bible refers to a woman as the weaker vessel. It's not saying that she is she's weak in that essence. It means that she is gentle. She's to be handled with care. Mm-hmm. She's the emotional vessel, which I know in society we say emotional is negative. It's not. There's a piece that a woman brings to relationship and to life that men were more logical. We think. In that particular piece, like you present us with something, we're thinking about it. We're not connecting emotion to it. And that's where we struggle to connect with things sometimes emotionally. Yeah. But a woman will bring a certain piece that's an emotional component. Yeah. And they're supposed to work together.
Yeah. Because she thinks about that side. Because we're more at times sensitive.
Mm-hmm. We had that with parenting today.
Yeah, we did have it with parenting today. Because, there's things that I thought about with our son. Greg, he was like, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and we're going to do it. And I was thinking about my children, mm-hmm. in a different kind of way. So we had to figure out how to put it together in a way that kind of accomplishes the common goal that we wanted for them.
Yeah. I wanted to add all types of additional systems and more work on top of a 6 to 8 hour workday. Yeah. It's like you have to consider that these children have to debrief.
They need to decompress as well from a long day at work.
So we came to this conclusion that included considering their lives and their emotions and their feelings and their well-being, along with creating a system for structure.
I mean, think
That's
about
how we're supposed to work together.
Kids that are a little bit off subject, but when you think about children who are treated like workhorses, they often crumble when they become adults. They crumble. Yep. And so that is why you see right there that the two parent element is needed. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
When you see a daughter who was raised mostly by her father, she's usually more rough. Mm-hmm. You see a guy who at times who was raised by his mom, he may be more gentle, mm-hmm. in a way where he needs that, Yeah. But again, pulling it back into if a woman is able to have a career, have successful kids, even have children, because some women don't feel like they can have kids. Maybe we can get married, but maybe I can't have kids to have this career or this thing that I believe I'm supposed to be doing. And I really, again, you're going to hear this a lot from me. It really depends on the couple and what they prioritize, mm-hmm. in their lives. Like if we both, and that's why even when you're dating, these conversations are important, but they're even more important once you get married and get settled in, to deciding what are the things that we want to accomplish and how can we reach these goals. Like Tabitha Brown and her husband are a beautiful example. That goes against the mold, because she was the one who...
I got to take this to our Heavenly Father. I got to get spiritual for a reason. Because we know that God cares about us as His bride. Mm-hmm. The desires and the things that we want, mm-hmm. God cares about. Yeah. And He also knows the plans that He has for us as well. Yes. So if I as a husband care about my wife the same way that Christ cares about me, mm-hmm. then I should be considerate about the things that she desires. Yeah. If she desires, man, I got this passion for whatever, to be president of the United States. Then as her groom,
yeah,
it's my job to say, okay, baby, how can we cultivate this?
Yeah.
How can we get you in position to be successful?
Yeah.
And how can I, and also putting on the hat as the pillar and the foundation,
Mm-hmm.
how can we keep our home intact?
Yeah.
Because I still have to be that rock to say, okay, how is this going to fit us?
Mm-hmm.
Does this line up with the vision for where God is leading us?
Yeah.
But I'm still responsible. It's that paradigm where, as men, and I'm challenging you guys to look at your wife as purposeful,
Mm-hmm.
not just something that accommodates you,
yeah,
or complements what you want to do.
Yeah.
Start going to God and saying, God, what is it you got for her?
Yeah.
And what can I do to help?
Yeah.
And encourage her to say, you know what, man, what is it what are your dreams? Like, ask practical questions
Mm-hmm.
about dreaming. Because if you never had people around you to encourage you to do that, you can't imagine to think beyond your what's the norm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why a lot of us don't imagine or even we're not even touching the potential that God has, because we can't fathom what we're supposed to be doing.
Yes, yes, yes.
Like, there wouldn't be world changers if they didn't have a picture of changing the world.
Yeah. Somebody thought, my son, we have a son that loves like superheroes and stuff, and he's always talking about different things. Like, he's extremely intelligent. We've said this before, he really is. And he's always talking about, if I was able to teleport, I would do this, and then I would do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's where things start, though.
Mm-hmm.
You're having this big imagination, but then maybe as you get older, maybe you go, well, I know I can't teleport, but how can I solve this problem?
Yeah, well, y'all better mark this day on y'all calendar when we declare Michael Coleman was the person to come up with the idea of creating teleportation. I know some of you NASA geniuses is working on it, but when that boy comes through,
yes,
watch.
He is so smart, and his brain is so.
Mm-hmm.
He has a beautiful brain,
mm-hmm.
and we're discovering it more and more every day. But I think about, I have had, like I said, I have a very traditional role. It's actually different than most of the people in my circle.
Mm-hmm.
My friends they all have careers and stuff like that. And I really didn't have that. But more recently, God had given me something to do that really excites, because when you have kids, I can see how you can get lost in it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why you and your husband coming together and talking, him saying, hey, remember you dreamed about doing this? Do you still want to do this? That's or good. Do you feel like, being able to talk about that and him saying that, because as a mom, you could just get lost in life.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking care of the kids. It takes up all your time. And the little time you got left, you just want to rest.
I said it. I said it on my hubby tip that we posted on the page. Your wife operating in purpose is only a benefit to you.
Yes, it is.
It is. If she's out here making this bread, the bread's coming to the crib. Let's just keep it a straight plane as possible.
Think about a woman that's happy
and happy. All the emotional. Oh my gosh.
This is because when you're operating in something that this is your passion, your dream, even when you're weary and stuff like that. It's different than when you're just doing stuff. You don't want to become the woman who later resented her husband because she never tried to go to school, and be a therapist or whatever, And so now it's like, now you're looking at him like, well, I did this for you, and he may not even know, or maybe he does know, but didn't care enough, because sometimes it's not necessarily that he doesn't care at all, but it's like he didn't care enough. Because I've seen men be okay with their wife they'll say their wife is great, amazing, wonderful, fantastic, she's so creative, blah, 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 blah. But they will allow her to just kind of cater to their dreams and stuff.
Because men could be good managers, and what does a manager do? A manager makes sure that the machine functions status quo. That it's not falling off. Not really caring whether or not you plateau. If we're comfortable where we're at, we'll move it there. But, you got those men that have to learn how to be leaders. And a leader is looking at where you're at and trying to go that next level. And a piece of that is, if you recognize any sign that your wife is not happy in life, you should never be comfortable with her being in that state. And if you're not comfortable, then you're going to ask questions. And asking questions is going to get you some answers or at least get you on the path to trying to get solutions for these problems. You ask some questions and recognize that your wife has a burning desire to fulfill something in life,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to want to try to get her.
Even if she doesn't know what it is, because
Yeah.
sometimes we just don't know what it is. But if you start caring and like, you know, what's going on, eventually, I mean, even giving us the room to figure it out, you know. But you know what that sounds like to me? What God commanded men of men, love. Love is an action more than a feeling, and you get to know that as you're in marriage. And you're working for it to be that long lasting. The love is saying she looks, you know, you're studying each other. You know, you're studying her, and you're like, if I'm talking to her, I know my wife is not fully fulfilled with this. Yeah. So how can I help her to get?
You're taking me to that sports analogy that we referenced last week that I said I was going to bring up today. So as men, really quick, we're facilitators. We're supposed to be facilitators. And if any of you guys watch football, you know that the quarterback on the field is generally the facilitator. Is the quarterback always the most athletic on the team? No. But the quarterback is the visionary on that field. He knows the play. Yeah. Coming down from that head coach and those coordinators, he describes the game plan to his team. Yeah. He leads them onto the field, and he executes it. And his goal is to make sure that the rest of his team is in position, where they are maximizing their ability. Yes. So let's bring this full circle. As a man, I'm the QB of my home. Yeah. My wife has a purpose. She's my wide out. She's my running back. Whatever that position is, I have to make sure I'm running the right plays. I'm running the right plays to get her in position for success so we can win.
So how do you do that?
Bro, y'all can't miss it. Well, number one, you got to have the right game plan. You got to have a vision. And we can't function. If you truly want to be successful in this life, I will never omit God.
Yeah, I was going to say to maximize it.
Because there's a whole lot of people, you can have capped success.
You can have success that looks like, woo.
But it'll never be what God has planned for you. Yeah. And so it's important, first and foremost, that you're going to God for vision and purpose for your home. You're inviting him into your relationship. You're inviting him in to you and your wife's communication and him working on you and your parenting, all the pieces that are a part of your home. Yes. And when you get that vision from him and you guys are sitting down talking, then you're going to get a game plan. Yes. And now you can strategize and say, okay, this is where we're going because I'm looking to do this. You're looking to do this. This should project 2, 3, 5 years down the line, this is where we could possibly be. Yes. So now we're getting in position, and I'm leading my team onto the field where we're able to execute this, and we can be successful.
That's good.
Facilitate, fellas. Yeah. And ain't nothing wrong with your wife being MVP. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. It ain't always the QB that's the MVP, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? The quarterback ain't always a part of the game winner. Sometimes other people gotta get that shine. And that's okay because the team itself wins. Everybody hoists the Lombardi trophy at the Super Bowl. That's what it's about.
Because it was Philly. It was our victory.
Yeah, but you got to know your position. Yeah. You got to know your role. That's what it's about. How can we maximize those gifts? Yeah. You know what I mean? And so.
That was good.
That's good.
That was really good. I remember when I was preparing. I think I just was wanting to be married at the time. And the minister of music at the time took me to the side and he said, the things that God is going to have you do, your husband has to be okay with you shining. And so that let me know that I had to have, like, it kind of lets you know, like, there's somebody specific that God will have, you know, he has to be comfortable in himself, you know, for me to shine. I think it's funny because I'm here with all these kids. I don't know if I'm really shining, but...
We see the feedback.
But, you know, not just that. I know that there's more that God has for me.
Oh yeah.
But you know, I am comfortable in my skin knowing that if there's ever a time where I am shining, that you will not feel like, you know, inferior.
No, not at all.
It is definitely a win for us all.
We trying to win.
That is what, you know, when you're fulfilled, so am I.
Yeah. Once again, coming to a close. We're running out of time. But please, guys, we love your feedback, man.
Yes, we do.
So shoot us an email, restoringthebreach7@gmail.com. Yes. You guys can follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. Post your comments on the bottom of this video. Give us your feedback, and we like to communicate, man. If you got ideas for topics, throw it in.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe it'll be a part of a conversation. We got some guests coming up that we're excited about.
Yes.
It's going to be awesome. But we're about providing intentional leadership
for intentional living.
So take care.
God bless.
God bless.